Hello there, this is The Margin. My name is Michael Kovalev, and this is the weekly tech news show about all things tech, software, and gadgets. Thank you for joining me today. And be sure to tune in next Friday for the next episode. So, this show is just about the tech news and what happened in the tech industry over the past week or period of time before the last episode. This is just talking about the last week. Side note, this recorded on February 14th. Nevertheless, thank you for joining me today, as I will just start talking about tech news. Amazing. So, the first headline, EU versus iMessage. Over the past couple of years, the European Union put out laws forcing standardization among smartphones. These laws were pretty obviously targeted at the iPhone. Like, by December, quote, by December 28, 2024, all new phones sold in the EU have to have the charging standard of USB-C. This is a quote. This is what the European Union said. But it wasn't just limited to that. It was also USB-C, side-loading, full-running browsers, and RCS. Before this was actually a surprise to me, full-running browsers don't run on the iPhone. It was all piggybacking off Safari, and it was a very minimized version of a browser. But now we can have extensions and other things on the iPhone. But, plot twist, only in the EU. I know, so crazy. But that's not the only mess. There's a little bit of side tangent, but a couple weeks ago, this wasn't last week, but the EU said, okay, Apple, you have to have side loading now. Amazing. Apple decided to have it only in the EU, number one, and also it's a mess. You can't download an app on a browser like you can from a computer. Even on a Mac, you can. You can't on an iPhone. Very weird. And if you do download something, it has to be through the App Store or a different Apple-approved app marketplace. That's how they said it. I don't know. It's just a different App Store. And it has to be Apple-approved, number one. And number two, they will still be charged the 30% Apple tax, which is the tax on all paid apps and paid services within apps, which is 30%. And after the 1 millionth user, every user gets charged 50 cents. So the 1 millionth user doesn't get charged. Well, the developers get charged, the users don't. The 1 millionth user is free to the developers, but the 1 millionth and one is not. It's very weird, and that the 1 million user tax adds up really, really quickly, especially for popular apps. So, that's not really the only thing. After you found an alternate app store, you have to have your app that you develop on. Wait, no. The app that you develop has to. No. In the you can develop apps, but if you want your app sideloaded, it has to be developed separately for a different marketplace, and it's a whole mess. Like, I don't know why Apple did this. It was better without it. And I think developers shouldn't switch now, especially now. But back to the topic at hand, there's not going to be RCS on the iPhone. Unfortunately, I really wanted that. I have RCS on my phone. It's very good, I must say. iMessage is very widely used. I would even say it's a core essential service. But you didn't think so, and just backed off. It's that simple. I respectfully disagree. iMessage is a benefit of the iPhone and a core platform service, but that is my opinion, and no one cares about my opinion. Nevertheless, next company, Google. There's no more Google Bard. If you don't know, Google Bard was Google's competitor ChatGPT, and it was just a large language model. It wasn't that special. It did work very well, though. Now replacing Google Bard is Google Gemini. It runs on all Android phones, and it runs the Gemini Nano system, which runs on Android phones. There's also a Gemini Pro and Gemini Ultra system, which are more powerful and have to run either locally on a computer or in a server. I know Ultra is only for servers. And corporate costs, it's really expensive. Once you download the app, it replaces Google Assistant, which when you say, hey, I was going to say Google, but it'll trigger my Google Assistant, so I'm not going to do that. Hey, G, it instead triggers Gemini. So, for example, I have Gemini installed. And if I say, hey Google, open Westboro TV on YouTube. This is what it'll say.
I can't assist you with that directly, as I am only a language model. However, I can provide you with a few options to open Westboro TV on YouTube. 1. Use your phone or a web browser. Open the YouTube app on your phone or visit link to YouTube in your web browser. Search for Westboro TV in the search bar. You should see their official channel.
That's enough of that. Google Assistant, which I can even show, will open whatever you tell it to. I believe on most apps installed on your phone, maybe not all of them. For example, now that I uninstalled Google Gemini, it will say, hey Google, open Westboro TV on YouTube. And it has, without saying anything. So I think it shouldn't have replaced Google Assistant. I think it should have just stayed in LLM, which is a large language model, but it did not. It replaced it. But again, you don't have to install it on your phone. I did because I wanted it. And it's actually pretty cool. Okay, moving on. Okay, also, just real quick, I saw a headline, which I thought was really interesting a couple of days ago, that YouTube Premium has broke 100 million subscribers. I was surprised. I thought it was a more niche service, but it did. But Spotify had way more. Like, way, way more. I don't know the exact number because I didn't save the article. I'll probably find it, but this just goes back to making your platform good. Like, the free version of YouTube is very good and very usable. It does have ads, but whatever. The free version of Spotify sucks. It's really bad. So, make your product better. I guess it's actually make your product worse if you want more paying subscribers. It's illogical, but it exists. Okay, next. For many years now, Microsoft Microsoft has had one of the biggest gaming monopolies in the video game industry. With Xbox and PC being some of the biggest consoles and PCs, all PCs of the gaming industry. Like, PlayStation is popular, Switch is popular, but it diminishes next to PC. Maybe it doesn't next to Xbox. It very much does next to PC. But apparently, later this week, they're announcing more. That we don't know all the details on this, but later this week, they will announce that. They're announcing that some games are going to PlayStation and Switch, which were exclusive to Xbox. Being Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, Indiana Jones, and most importantly, Starfield, which is Starfield, in my opinion, is one of the biggest reasons to buy an Xbox, because it's exclusive to that PC, but wow. I don't understand. Does Microsoft just not want money all of a sudden? Like, I thought that was weird. Why buy an Xbox? Think, like, is any other company doing this? Are they taking their exclusives? And you might say, oh, Game Pass. Game Pass is great. Game Pass on PC is more developed and way better and has actually more games. So, buy a PC or buy a PlayStation. So, I have been recording for a couple minutes now. This is a quick, short first episode. Next week, I hope I have Lucas to record with. Thank you for joining me. You have a good day.